Hi, this is James O'Keefe. I'm captain of the Massachusetts Pirate Party. Thank you very much for joining us this lovely July 30th. I'm joined today, as usual, by Joe, Treasurer, Quartermaster Joe, and Secretary Steve. How are the two of you doing?
Doing all right, Jamie.
Can't complain, though. If I were to, no one would really want to hear it.
Oh, sure, you could complain.
I'm sure we all have something to gripe about. Speaking of which, complaints. Instagram hates us.
Yeah, so with all of the funniness that is going on at Twitter, once Facebook, aka Meta, aka Instagram, decided to create and make Threads their Twitter clone alternative go live, they required you have an Instagram account. So we created an Instagram account. We created a Threads account. And 2 days later, they said, you're suspended until you prove you're legit. It wasn't clear, but we jumped through the hoops that they asked, only to be told, oh, you didn't fulfill them right. We're banning you. So unlike the Massachusetts Democrat and Republican parties, or the Massachusetts Libertarian and Green Rainbow parties, or like the German pirate parties, we don't have an Instagram account and we don't have a Threads account. So I guess you can expect us not to be there. But as always, you can find us at masspirates.org, and you can share what we post on those platforms. And we won't be able to like retweet it or something.
Yeah, this reminds me of like the couple of years ago where I had to get a Facebook account. And well, this was, get a Facebook account in order to, participate in a couple of groups. But I ended up writing it in like it ended up taking me about 30 steps. Because they had, initially asked for a photograph, and I, gave them a photograph, and they said that photograph is not good enough. They had, it's a kind of thing where once they sort of ban you, you can't come back with the same identity. I eventually got the thing to work, though I had to take more photos. I had to basically sign up for a Google Voice account because they want to do SMS verification and create a brand new email address. But yeah, it's Instagram and Facebook are owned by this, and they're both part of Meta, right?
Correct.
Yeah, you guys suck. Sorry, but you do. You suck.
Sorry, go Joe.
I was just gonna say, for it to being as big as it is, I'm pretty sure there's something wrong with the whole organization top down. Just saying that, how dare you not exist on our platform and be one of us?
Well, we're going to ban you anyways.
Yeah, it sort of reminds me. There used to be this, back in sort of like earlier internet days, and maybe the site is still around. But you guys, do you remember Fucked Company?
Yes, I do. I do remember that.
I do not, but I remember
This is an NSFW channel, just so folks know.
Not safe for work, but it's basically all of the like basically dishing random dirt from that was leaked by various people at who worked at different companies. It's not industry specific or company specific, but it's like your company does something and you say that is fucked. Well, you send it to fuckcompany.com and they publish it.
Yeah, I mean, I recognize that Instagram and Meta and all these other top-down corporate sites have issues with people coming in trying to impersonate others or trying to create fake accounts so they can upload videos or post different things that are borderline advertisements. I get that their problem is not easy, but at the same time, if they're reliant on being, I mean, in the case of Facebook, they've got Facebook, WhatsApp, and Instagram. You're getting into monopoly territory there. You can't just have the ban hammer when someone doesn't jump through the hoop that you expected. And this, of course, I will now do our plug, which you can check in the description for our Mastodon account. So by all means, follow us on Mastodon. And I mean, they reap these massive profits, and they hire people in developing countries to be able to sift through the porn that goes on there, the child porn that's on there, all the stuff that people are being dicks about in posting. I would say if we broke them up, at least then they might be more accountable.
You mean putting a cap on corporate power? So creepy. It might just work.
Yeah,
Pretty sure that there are laws there for that. Something monopoly laws.
Antitrust laws, maybe.
Yes.
There is one downside to companies that get too large. I think Polaroid was a great example where Polaroid, for years they were the most recognizable brand in film. They made everyone remembers a Polaroid camera. They're no longer made by Polaroid, but they still call them Polaroids, where you would click a picture and the thing would come out of the photo would come out of the camera, and in a few minutes you'd be able to see to take a look at it, which was pretty amazing for its time. But they still
have that technology, by the way. Fuji has a whole line that does it. They're just smaller.
Right. But, they also, one of the things that they also came up with was, they were one of the earlier pioneers of digital imaging and digital cameras. And, they had a digital camera, and my understanding is they had a product, developed it, but decided not to market it because they thought it would interfere with their film business. And maybe I'm thinking of Kodak, but basically it's one of the larger filmmakers, and it's so when you have a company and it's you've got different units and you don't necessarily want units competing with each other. Yeah, that means the downside of that is things that might really benefit consumers or that consumers might enjoy never become available to consumers because the company that's sitting on it is afraid that it will become it will take off and it'll eat into this other revenue stream. But on the other hand, maybe that's an opportunity for someone else to get in. But getting into starting a brand new major web service is a major undertaking. It's a huge effort in manpower, for writing, for design, development, and also a huge exercise in scaling up, because you don't just take one little website that works for 100 people and make it work for 10 million or more. There's a whole bunch of there's there is a whole art to doing that, and it's very application specific and very resource intensive.
But we have technology like ActivityPub that Mastodon and other services use as ways of someone can spin up their own Mastodon instance and they can have their friends join it, or they can open it up to a wider audience that kind of takes some of that, that it makes it easier for people to enter and compete in that sense. Oh, I don't like the policies at this Mastodon instance. I'll go to this other one. This other one has too many Nazis. I don't want to be here. I'm going to go over to this to a third one or something like that. So, with Facebook, it's the same problem with Google, right? They're not transparent. TechDirt recently had a similar case where suddenly they noticed that DuckDuckGo, if you search for TechDirt, none of their pages came up. So it turns out DuckDuckGo is getting its search data from Bing. And since Bing is kind of, upstream, upstream, they weren't indexing TechDirt anymore. Who do you go to at Bing to be able to say, hey, is there a reason why you're not indexing our stuff? Why you just deleted us from your search engine? I mean, they may only be 5 or 10% of the whole search space, but even having a form of, hey, what's up with this? The counter to that, of course, is, well, if you do that, then it's like the spammers will do it as well. Hey, why are you not indexing our spam pages? I'm like, it should be like, well, you're spam. That was easy. Right? And I don't know, but they're in the same kind of limbo. Maybe they'll get an answer. Maybe there's someone at Bing who will percolate, who's like reading TechDirt, and they'll be like, hey, let me talk about this. And to someone who might know. I remember years ago, I think it was Yoranon News. I was contacted by someone just chatting with them about it. And they're like, oh, yeah, in Google, it's not Yoranon News, it's Yoranon News Web or something like that. And I happen to know someone at Google. So I reached out to them and I'm like, hey, is there any way you can make this standardized so they can have, one uniform ID? And that person was sympathetic and they knew who to talk to, or they could go to some system and look it up and they got it fixed. And I'm not saying it should be like you need to know someone within the company, but there should be some mechanism whereby I can be, why did we get banned when there are others? There's no appeal process. It's you don't jump through some hoop and then you're just banned. Not, oh, maybe there's some automated process. If you're a real human being, click on here and do this and we'll look at it. I don't know. They say they're so efficient, but their efficiencies are outsourcing work to low-wage countries and automating as much as they can.
Yeah.
Going back into the... Sorry, go ahead, Steve.
I was going to say Google in particular is, this has been a while, but, my last experience dealing with, trying to deal with Google as an actual paying customer. We were a company using their ad services, but at one point in time, they basically decided to get rid of the support department, and their response was literally, well, start a Google group and use it within your organization to share best practices. And if you don't know how to do something, try searching the fine web using Google. So, yeah.
Amazon has... Sorry, go, Joe. Sorry.
No, what I was going to say is, have you gentlemen seen the memes between Google and Bing? The Google versus Bing memes? Those are pretty priceless. So generally, like Google is always seen as like the light, happy, go lucky, proper way, and Bing is just like, and now the terrible answer. And it's actually pretty funny. Just saying that how each one does the searches is completely different, and some of the searches that you can get off of Bing are pretty god awful. just saying. Sorry for interrupting. That was in my brain and I had to get it out.
Perhaps there should be an Apple Windows ad campaign between Google and Bing.
I'd love to see the search browser wars and actually just have a search off and see what different results you get from each one. But I'd rather see Tor win that one. Tor browser. Personally, get your onions on. That dark web, explore the dark web.
I mean, it is unfortunate that DuckDuckGo uses Bing data, because instead of doing their own indexing, and maybe they can be more accountable, they're just using Bing's data. I mean, maybe TechDirt could go to DuckDuckGo and say, hey, our data's not there. And they're like, yeah, it's not in Bing. Let me ring someone up and figure that out. I mean, you would think DuckDuckGo knows about TechDirt. So,
maybe one day we'll be in a position where we could just start our own project to do our own indexing and literally just do it net neutrality style. But I mean, how do you even tackle that project? That is a nightmare project. It will fuel my nightmares for many years, thinking of how to do that. Get it done.
Mass Pirates Webo links.
I mean, we could always just start with an onion list, but boy.
So with that, thank you very much for joining us. Thank you both, Steve and Joe. We have a meeting coming up on Thursday at 9 p.m. You can check out our site where there will be details on that, although probably check it out tomorrow, Monday, because we're updating to a different site and need to go update those details. You can always join our email list and get notifications of upcoming events. And you can join various email lists that we have, our crypto party list, our activist list, if you want to participate. Also, for events that are coming up, we are planning to have a camera mapping outing in honor of 9/11. The United States Pirate Party is organizing that, and so since we kind of kicked some of those things off those many years ago with our own efforts, we'll be either one day, multiple days, we'll see, going out and mapping surveillance cameras in a municipality near you. So you can check out cctv.masspirates.org to check out the map of data worldwide where there are surveillance cameras. Also, there's information for apps you can get for Android, iPhone, or how you can do it from a web browser. So with that, thank you, Joe. Thank you, Steve. And thanks, folks, for listening. You know the drill. We appreciate you watching us, and we certainly appreciate every like, share, subscribe. You can find us at masspirates.org. And hopefully we'll see you next week. If not, the week after. Bye, folks. All done.